The National Basketball Association is the third most valuable league in the world, with a value of at least $60 billion. They boast one of the largest fan bases on the globe, with an estimated pool of 800 million supporters. But which teams are driving this insane accumulation of wealth? Today we're counting down the 10 most valuable NBA teams. With 3 NBA championships under their belt, the Miami Heat are a beloved franchise that has hosted legends like Dwayne Wade and LeBron James. The Heat, along with the Charlotte Hornets, entered the league in 1988 as an expansion team. In 1995, future Hall of Fame head coach Pat Riley took charge of the Heat. In just his second season with Miami, Riley guided a team featuring All-Stars Alonzo Mourning and Tim Hardaway to a surprising 61-21 record and a division title. In the 96-97 postseason, the Heat defeated the Orlando Magic and the New York Knicks in the first 2 rounds of postseason play, with the series against the Knicks including a notorious bench-clearing brawl in Game 5 that marked the beginning of a fierce rivalry between the two franchises. Even as the franchise struggles, they are still the 10th most valuable team in the NBA, with a valuation of $1.75 billion, according to Forbes. Forbes breaks the Heat's value down thusly in millions: $741 for the sport, $521 for the market, $301 for the stadium, and $186 for the brand. The $1.7 billion was a 3% increase from last year's value, or $50 million for those counting at home. Like most Los Angeles residents, the Clippers are not originally from the City of Angels. They were born in New York in 1970 and were known in their infancy as the Buffalo Braves. The Braves posted losing records in each of their first 3 seasons, before running off 3 consecutive winning campaigns. The Clippers made the most dramatic improvement effort in team history shortly before the 2011-2012 season, when the franchise traded for superstar point guard Chris Paul. That season, Paul teamed with young all-star power forward Blake Griffin to help the Clippers advance to the conference semifinals. The Clippers improved that regular season result in 2012 and 2013, tallying a then-team record 56 wins and winning the first division title in team history, but lost in the opening round of the postseason. Though they've still yet to win a championship or even a conference title, they have a wealthy and populous fan base, meaning that they are worth $2.2 billion. Forbes magazine estimates that last year the Los Angeles Clippers generated $128 million in revenue and earned $15 million in profits. Though they have never been the best team in the league, they continue to pull in an impressive profit. On May 1st, 1980, Don Carter won the bid to bring an NBA franchise to Dallas, and the Dallas Mavericks were born. The team would be the 23rd team to join the NBA. The NBA was reluctant to bring a franchise to Dallas, since the Houston Rockets and San Antonio Spurs were already in Texas. However, the league owners voted at the 1980 All-Star Game to allow the expansion to Dallas. The expansion fee was $12.5 million, or roughly $40 million in today's dollars, adjusted for inflation. It turns out that was a good investment, because now the Mavericks have a deeply devoted following. In their history, the Mavericks have won 1 NBA championship, 3 division titles, and 2 conference championships. They are currently estimated at $2.25 billion, making them the 8th most valuable team in the league. The Mavericks' turnaround began with the arrival of point guard Steve Nash and forward Dirk Nowitzki before the 1998-99 season. In 2000, internet entrepreneur Mark Cuban purchased the franchise and initiated a new era of free spending for the Mavericks. Cuban, one of the league's most flamboyant and outspoken owners, upgraded the team's facilities and made Dallas an attractive location for free agents for the first time in years. The rest is history. The second Texas team on this countdown, the Houston Rockets, have been a veritable basketball powerhouse since their founding in 1967. They are worth an impressive $2.3 billion. The team was founded as the San Diego Rockets in 1967 and moved to Houston in 1971 after 4 losing seasons. The early Rockets teams were led by a pair of future Hall of Famers, Elvin Hayes, who had started for the University of Houston, as well as by Rudy Tomjanovich, who would later coach the Rockets for 12 seasons. During its rebuilding in the 2000s, the team was notable for its reliance on advanced statistical analysis in its player acquisitions. One result of the team's idiosyncratic approach to development was the Rockets earning a playoff berth in 2012, with the youngest roster in the NBA, including the outstanding shooting guard James Harden. Harden later went on to become an NBA legend who brought much success to his fledgling team. With a pair of championships and 4 conference titles, the Rockets are nothing to sneeze at. The Brooklyn Nets, a professional basketball team based in the New York City borough of Brooklyn, was founded in 1967 and initially played in Teaneck, New Jersey as the New Jersey Americans, later the New Jersey Nets. They also have 2 championships and 5 conference titles under their belts. In 2012, the team, which by that time was owned by a group of investors that included notable figures such as Mikhail Prokhorov and Jay-Z, relocated to Brooklyn in an effort to capitalize on New York's larger media market and cultural cash. A rebuilt and reinvigorated Nets team posted a 49-33 record in 2012, but lost in the first round of the NBA playoffs. In the following offseason, the Nets traded for all-star veterans Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, but the team struggled to live up to its high expectations early in the 2013 season. In 2019, Russian billionaire Mikhail Prokhorov sold the controlling interest interest of the Brooklyn Nets to Alibaba Group co-founder and Canadian billionaire Joe Tsai. Tsai already bought 49% of the Nets last year for $1 billion, and his purchase of the other 51% for $1.35 billion, according to the Associated Press, makes him the sole investor of the team. That $2.35 billion will be the highest price paid for a U.S. sports franchise. However, the valuation only makes the Nets the sixth most valuable team in the NBA. The Boston Celtics are one of the most legendary teams in NBA history. Founded in 1946 and one of 8 NBA teams out of 23 total teams to survive the league's first decade, the franchise is owned by Boston Basketball Partners, LLC. The Celtics play their home games at the TD Garden, which they share with the NHL's Boston Bruins. The franchise's 17 championships are the most of any NBA franchise and account for 24.3% of all NBA championships since the league's founding in 1946. As a percentage of championships won, the Celtics are the most successful franchise to date in the major 4 traditional North American professional sports leagues. The Celtics' rise to dominance began in the late 1950s, after acquiring center Bill Russell in a draft day trade in 1956, who would become the cornerstone of the Celtics dynasty. Led by Russell and superstar point guard Bob Cousy, the Celtics won their first NBA championship in 1957. The Celtics are the 5th most valuable NBA franchise in Forbes' annual rankings at $2.8 billion. The Celtics slipped one spot on the list. They were 4th last year, but gained in value. They were worth $2.7 billion last year. Of this, a whopping $433 million is tied up in their legendary stadium. The Chicago Bulls joined the NBA for the 1966-67 season. The franchise struggled for the better part of a quarter century, occasionally putting excellent teams on the court, such as the tough units of the mid-1970s that featured Bob Love, Norm Van Lier, Jerry Sloan, and Tom Boerwinkle. More often, however, the Bulls worked hard for mediocre results. That all changed in the mid-1980s with the drafting of Michael Jordan, the dominant player of his era and possibly the greatest player of all time. Jordan won 7 straight scoring titles with a combination of breathtaking slam dunks and a bag of thrilling shot-making tricks. He put up some of the biggest numbers in NBA history and wrote some of the most memorable chapters in the annals of the league. The addition of Scottie Pippen, another Hall of Famer, in 1987 would set the stage for one of the sport's greatest dynasties. The franchise is still riding high on this wave and is worth $2.9 billion. Though their last championship was in 1998, the team has 6 under their belt and are much beloved by their native Chicago community. Prior to the inception of the Bulls organization, 2 pro teams had failed in Chicago. One squad, the Stags, had been a charter member of the 11-Team Basketball Association of America, the predecessor of the NBA. The franchise folded after the 1949 campaign. The Packers debuted in 1961, but after 2 last-place finishes and a name change to the Zephyrs, the franchise moved to Baltimore and eventually became the Washington Bullets. The history of the Golden State Warriors began in Philadelphia in 1946. In 1962, the franchise was relocated to San Francisco, California, and became known as the San Francisco Warriors until 1971, when its name was changed to the current Golden State Warriors. Along with their inaugural championship win in the 1946 season, the Warriors have won 5 others in the team's history, including another in Philadelphia after the 1955 season, and 4 more as Golden State after the 1974, 2014, 2016, and 2017 seasons. Led by young star guard Stephen Curry, the Warriors returned to the postseason in 2012. The team brought in a new head coach, Steve Kerr, before the 2014 season, and the Warriors quickly turned into a juggernaut, racking up a franchise record 67 wins that season, a tie for the 4th most victories in league history at the time, and advanced to the NBA Finals for the first time in 40 years. There, Golden State fought off a surprisingly strong challenge from LeBron James and the heavy underdog Cleveland Cavaliers to capture the NBA title in a 6-game series. They are worth $3.5 billion, making them the 3rd most valuable in the league. The second Los Angeles team on the countdown, the Lakers, come in at number 2 with a jaw-dropping net worth of $3.7 billion. The Lakers are one of the most successful teams in the history of the NBA and have won 16 NBA championships, the 2nd most behind the Boston Celtics. Their rosters have included some of the game's greatest players, including George Mikan, Jim Pollard, Clyde Lovellette, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, Gail Goodrich, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Jamal Wilkes, James Worthy, Magic Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kobe Bryant. The franchise that would become the Lakers was founded in 1946 as the Detroit Gems and played in the National Basketball League. The team moved to Minneapolis, Minnesota in 1947, and its name was changed to the Lakers to reflect the Minnesota State nickname, Land of 10,000 Lakes. The NBA was formed in 1949, and Mikan and the Lakers won 4 of the first 5 league titles, establishing professional basketball's first dynasty. That legacy continues to this day. Benefiting from one of the wealthiest and most densely densely populated metro areas in the world, the New York Knicks come in as the most valuable team in the NBA, with a valuation of $4 billion. The playoff-level Knicks of the 1990s were led by future Hall of Fame center Patrick Ewing. This era was marked by passionate rivalries with the Chicago Bulls, Indiana Pacers, and Miami Heat. During this time, they were known for playing tough defense under head coaches Pat Riley and Jeff Van Gundy, making 2 appearances in the NBA Finals in 1994 and 1999. However, they were unable to win an NBA championship during this era. Since 2000, the Knicks have struggled to regain their former glory, but won their first division title in 19 years in 2012, led by a core of forwards Carmelo Anthony and Amari Stoudemire. They were eventually eliminated in the Eastern Conference semifinals by the Indiana Pacers, and have failed to make the playoffs since. Regardless, their supporters are fanatical and pay top dollar to see this team play.